We have some breaking news from the Middle East and a possible escalation in the war with Iran. Donald Trump says the U.S. helicopter that went down over the Strait of Hormuz last night was shot down by Iran. The two pilots are safe. They were rescued uninjured. But the president says the United States must, of necessity, respond to this attack. It is not clear how this new development will impact peace talks. After coming back to D.C. last night, Trump repeated his recent claims a deal is only days away.
We're in the final throes of what will be a very, very good deal that will not allow in any way, shape, or form nuclear weapons, etc. And the strait will open up right away. It'll open up immediately upon signing, which could be in 2 or 3 days.
Joining us, co-host of The Weekend and MS Now Washington reporter Jackie Alemany and former senior advisor for Arab-Israeli negotiations at the U.S. State Department, Aaron David Miller. He is also a senior fellow at the Carnegie Endowment, for International Peace. Welcome to you both. Jackie, what do we know about what the president may have learned today? What's new, and what does he mean when he says the U.S. must respond to this attack?
Yeah, Alex, we don't have all that much information or any specifics from the White House yet about what exactly Trump means in this Truth Social post. But I think if we take a step back and sort of look at it in the context of where we are right now, that might shed some light on the direction that we'll be headed in. We're essentially at 101 days of a war that Trump promised would end quite a bit ago. And we've been at a sort of stasis, negotiations dragging on, not moving forward, progressing at the speed that the president had hoped, but happening nevertheless. Trump has during several different times over this past ceasefire threatened imminent military action with the threat of either resuming strikes or some sort of kinetic action, only to be talked sort of back by regional allies who have encouraged him to continue with diplomatic conversations and have essentially behind closed doors convinced him that escalating military action would not be good for anyone in the region and could sort of spiral into an even bigger global crisis than it has already caused. But you have to wonder, considering that Trump just said, as you showed there, that negotiations could be finished in 2 to 3 days, whether or not the president is trying to use this attack as potentially a pretext to maybe strike Iran in order to sort of speed things up. But again, we do not know anything yet about what the president's Truth Social post means and whether it's going to be a resumption or an escalation of military actions or some sort of other coercive actions, especially in the context and on the tails of Congress just passing the War Powers Resolution back to curb the president's war powers.
Mm-hmm. So, Aaron, Trump typically says a deal is just 2 or 3 days away. He's repeated that. He also used the phrase the final throes, which implicates even sooner, you would think. At least it just sounds that way. But given the president just said the U.S. must respond to Iran shooting down a helicopter, how does that complicate the push toward any deal?
Yeah, I think Jackie got it right. I mean, reconciling the social media post, going to have to respond, must respond with the fact that a deal is days away, that really doesn't compute. If the administration responds, and it's more than a limited response, then I think the Iranians will respond directly against the United States. More likely, they will wreak havoc with drones and missiles against the Gulf states. And we're shelving, I think, for the foreseeable future, or at least for the next several weeks, the prospects of any breakthrough in the negotiation. You also have to consider Lebanon. You've got 2 flashpoints here. One is kinetic action in the Gulf because of the naval blockade in the Straits closure. The other is Lebanon. And both of them are capable of undermining the very goal that the president presumably wants to achieve, which is an MOU, which will be the key to unlocking very painful negotiations on all the core issues. So again, it's hard to reconcile. I would suspect that there will be a response, but it'll be limited. Anything more than that, frankly, would fundamentally be completely out of alignment with what you would think the president wants to achieve.
But Aaron, timeline here. Other outlets have reported Trump has said a deal was imminent dozens of times since April. Outside of spin, does this benefit negotiations in any way? I mean, what's Iran's approach to that? Have they just tuned that out because they're like, no, it hasn't happened.
I mean, I think the Iranians basically are feeling incredibly emboldened. And for them to strike directly at Israel, for the Israelis doing something that they've done de rigueur over the last several years, which is strike the Dahia, the southern suburbs in Beirut, that reflects a degree of risk readiness that I think Iran is prepared to court. I think they believe they're suffering $500 million a day because of the naval blockade. But look, for them, it's existential. For Donald Trump, I'm not sure how I would describe it, but the stakes for the bunch that are running this country are much more profound and potentially devastating than they are for Donald Trump. So I think the Iranians believe time is on their side. I think they've shown that they will escalate. And I think they believe the ceasefire is not serving their interests. They want assets unfrozen, and they want to be paid up front. So any deal that gets the administration out of this war is going to have to consider that. And that's going to be a very painful concession for any administration to make because of what Trump has said about the pallets of cash that the Obama administration delivered in the context of a 2016 hostage exchange.
Right. So, Aaron, just very quickly, given all you've just said, is there any credible timeline for an end to this war, or at least a peace deal, a framework of one? Yes or no?
Slow and slower. That's the pace.